again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really excited to have Peter here. Peter, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Is it fair to say you've worked in all aspects in and around distribution and materials and roofing?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it all: contractor, distribution, manufacturing. I've got them all knocked out.
Where did you start with this? Because, what was roofing always the plan?
No, I in college I had visions of following my father into oil and gas, and I actually did. I started 1 year at Texaco. And found out the cubicle life was not for me. And ironically, my father had already retired and he was a bit bored. So he bought a roofing company and I joined him. 26 years later, I'm still in it and he's retired, traveling the world.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how I stumbled upon this industry. I thought I would be in the office, but on the first day, my dad said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Setting up the office." He said, "No, your office is on the roof." And I've been on the roof ever since.
From working with your dad, in the business, where'd you go from there?
I was done with roofing. I was burned out, and I went and worked for a tool company called Hilti, and had great success there. Had no desire to leave it. But unbeknownst to me, Beacon, which is now QXO, was looking for a commercial roofing salesman for the Austin market. And unfortunately, I'm good friends with at the time, my Certainty rep, and he recommended me. I kept turning Beacon down, and finally, 9 months later, they grinded me down, and here next thing I knew, I was working at Beacon. And it was different. Distribution sales is way different than what I'm used to. And I pretty much had one customer, and that customer was Empire Roofing. And they were, I just took care of them, and they finally asked me to come back onto the contractor side. So I was briefly at QXO, Beacon, whatever we call them these days. But again, it did teach me that side of the business.
And then you did a few stints on the the contractor side, and then you ended up in materials again.
Yeah. So at Empire does a lot of waterproofing, and I really fell in love with the waterproofing. It challenged me again. Not that roofing was getting boring, but waterproofing I'd never learned. As I did more and more waterproofing projects with Empire, I really got into the science of it and the technology. And I ended up at GCP Applied Materials, which many people know as Grace, but they have a below grade and an air barrier division. And I ended up getting on that side and really enjoyed it until they were bought out. It was crazy that they got purchased, but so I went from the roof to the basement, and it was something else.
You were burnt out, you came back, and then you bounced around, you learned a few new things. What's been the key to your longevity in roofing?
Well, one, I think my longevity, I don't know if it's longevity or success or stupidity, but it's I always answer my phone when it rains. Somebody once told me that, roofing's like the mob. Once you're in, you're in. And it is what I know. I do love everything about the roofing industry. And so I don't ever see myself getting out of it. And so, I think the longevity is it's constantly evolving. It's constantly coming out with new challenges. I've been asked before to design roofs that can withstand a missile, which, by the way, doesn't exist, but we tried our best. But I just get new challenges presented to me every day, and I rise to those challenges, and that's what keeps me around, I guess.
If someone's trying to get in to the roofing industry, because you've looked at this industry from many different angles, what sort of advice do you have?
I always like telling them to take the same path that I took. And what I mean by that is start out on the roof. I think the most successful ones in the industry are the ones that truly understand how a roof go together. You need to treat yourself as a resource to the customer. not just a salesman. And so at the end of the day, when they're having an issue, and if you have that knowledge on how to fix that issue, then you're of value to them. I know it's not glamorous to come out of school, whether or not it's high school or college or even a trade school. I know it's not glamorous to jump right on a roof, but you'll learn so much just by installing the material yourself. You'll learn the sales aspect of it, you'll learn the operations aspect of it, and you'll learn the estimating aspect of it. And then again, ask lots of questions. There are, I was taught early on in my career that the only stupid questions are the ones not asked. So, ask questions. We can't take the knowledge we have with us when we leave this earth. So there's a lot of us who want to give it away. I'm one of those. I enjoy being a mentor. So, when somebody asks me those questions that are trying to come, say, from the residential side over to the commercial side, it just helps remind me, it keeps me on my toes. So, I would just really focus on those.